Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Pastor Fletcher Brothers, and first of all, I want to thank your pastor and the leadership of your church for affording me this opportunity to speak to you about something that I believe is so crucial, so needed in today's world for all of God's people. I believe with all of my heart that God has raised up the membership, the prepaid legal membership that I'm going to talk to you about over these next few minutes for such a time as this. Now, I hope I can make it clear to you over the next few minutes why I believe personally that every pastor, every Christian, every mom and dad, be they whatever faith, need this membership. Now, let me give you just a moment of my D&B. We all have them, and so here's mine. I was born a pastor's son, been a PK for 56 years, been in my own ministry for 32. And in addition to pastoring, 25 years ago, I started Freedom Village USA, Freedom Village Canada. We also have a home in Puerto Rico. We have another outreach to orphans and children in the Ukraine. We do a daily radio, daily television program. So I tell you all of that to let you know that every day I come in contact with tens of thousands of people. And bottom line, our ministry here at Freedom Village USA, Freedom Village Canada, is to children. Has been now for, as I said, over 25 years. The things that are happening today to children, the things that parents are battling, the things that are going on in the church today, ladies and gentlemen, every person who has children, every grandparent, but especially every Christian needs what I'm going to tell you about over these next few moments. But before we go any farther, let me introduce a man that it's been my privilege to get to know over the last 14 months as I've been involved with Prepaid Legal. I believe in this company. Understand, I would not get my ministry, I would not get my supporters, I would not get my family involved in anything that I did not know beyond 100%, no shadow of a doubt at all, that it was reputable, godly, and believe me, this company is one of the best. 32 years old, rock solid, New York Stock Exchange company. But you know, beyond that, there is a man that God gave a vision to. And I believe that God raised Harlan Stone Cipher up for such a time as this. I believe that Prepaid Legal has come to those of us who love the Lord for such a time as this. And I want you to know why I love them. I want you to know why I believe in them. I want you to know why I'm involved in this. So without any further ado, let me first of all introduce the founder and still CEO of our company after 32 years, wonderful godly man, Harlan Stone Cipher.
Prepaid Legal Service has been around for 30 plus years. We began actually back in 1972. I founded the company in 1972 because I realized that there was a real need for middle income Americans to have access to the legal system, that they were basically shut out of the legal system because they just could not afford the price.
Ladies and gentlemen, the prepaid legal membership varies slightly from state to state. So what I'm going to do is I want to focus in on four particular areas that are precious to me. I love the church, I love pastors, I love families, I certainly love children, and so I'm going to just focus in on those four areas. But the person who arranged this showing is going to give you a brochure, is going to tell you everything about your state, everything that's covered. Believe me, there is not a better plan on the planet than the prepaid legal membership, and I firmly believe that every one of you watching this program need it. That's why I'm involved in this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a cause to me. You know, David looked over the valley that day and said, is there not a cause? Protecting children, protecting families, protecting the church. I believe with all of my heart that there is a tremendous amount of profiling going on directed towards God's people. Now, so I'm going to talk to you about four areas. There are many, many more that are going to be discussed by the person who arranged this showing. Now, number one is the church itself. Ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at the front cover of the Newsweek magazine, December 2003. Lawsuit hell. Folks, I told you before, I grew up in the church. There was a day when suing a church, suing a pastor was the farthest thing from people's minds. Well, get over it, because we're there, okay? And USA Today did a survey not so long ago and said, if you're ever going to get rich, how are you going to do it? Number one answer, win a big lawsuit. Well, now the church is under attack. Pastors are under attack. And if they sue your church, understand they're going to sue the pastor, they're going to sue the associate pastors, they're going to sue the board. Talked to a church just the other day in Buffalo, New York. They're being sued because of what is deemed as an impropriety in the youth department. Well, the youth pastor, the board, the assistant pastors, the pastors, and the church all being sued. $3 to $4 million. In Texas, same scenario, only this one had to do with a nursery. Guess what? Every nursery worker, the associate pastors, every board member, the pastor, the church, all being sued. In Mississippi, a church was ordered to pay $900,000, according to Christian Law Association. $900,000 because a boy was touched in the bathroom by a visitor. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time we as God's people wake up and smell the coffee. We're under attack, and here is a plan that can, for less than the price of a cup of coffee a day, cover you as an individual and give you the access to the top law firms all over the United States and in 4 provinces of Canada for our Canadian friends. Number 2, the area of wills. My experience as I travel is that the vast majority of people do not have a will. If I were to ask for a show of hands right now in this church, I would guarantee you that a high percentile of you do not have your wills. You know, most parents think that if they were to die, that maybe their mom, their dad, their sister, their brother, somebody would raise the children. Do you know that if you die without a will, parents, that your children will become the wards of your state? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something right now. There are people that are working in these agencies that you do not want rearing your children, not in a heartbeat. Protect your family with a will. You say, well, they're expensive. Not when you have a prepaid legal membership, because it's part of the package. And again, varies a little bit from state to state, so the person that arranges this viewing is going to tell you about that too. But in off times, we can offer the spouse a free will as well. In other areas, it's for a nominal fee. But get your will, protect your family, protect your children. Talking about protecting children, parental rights. You know, when I was in school, when I went off to school every day, my mother was more concerned about what I would do to the school than what the school would do to me. But those days are over. All you gotta do is read your newspaper. All you gotta do is listen to the news. Horrific things happening in our schools that, now, are there many, many, many wonderful teachers? Absolutely, I know a lot of them. But I'm gonna tell you something right now. You know and I know, you've watched the news, you've heard the stories. There are things happening now. There are attacks coming down on parental rights. There's things being taught that violate God's people's convictions when it comes to their children. You need to protect your family. You need to know what your rights are. Mr. Stone-Cipher would tell you, if you don't know what your rights are, then you have no rights, all right? Here's an opportunity to put a blanket of protection, legal protection on your family for less than the price of a cup of coffee a day. Last but not least, the 4th thing I want to talk to you about is this whole area of the social service system. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I deal with this both sides of the border every day. There are right now sitting on my desk hundreds and hundreds of cases from families that have lost their children, in my opinion, needlessly, because I deal with a lot of these situations. Now, let me just say, Prepaid Legal, nor I, nor Mr. Stone-Cipher, or anyone else involved with Prepaid Legal, or any of our law firms, intends to protect criminals, intends to protect wrong, intends for people to use this membership for wrong. But the problem is that here is a system that basically has gotten out of control. Here's an article that was written by an investigative reporter for Word News, and it's entitled, Taking a Closer Look at Child Protection Services. Many of the stats I'm going to give you are in that article. If you were to look at the statistics that I have right here, now these come from the Bureau of Statistics, they come from Child Abuse Bureau, they come from the Kids Count Census, they come from, this is a breakdown of state by state by state that is provided by the Resource Institute for Children. Now, bottom line, here's what we're finding. And And again, these numbers will vary a little bit from state to state. But basically, we're losing about 3,000 children a day in the United States. About 1 million children a year now, according to these stats, are being taken out of homes in the United States alone. Some estimate it's even higher than that now. It was 984,000 just 3 or 4 years ago, but we'll use 1 million. In Canada, tens of thousands. Now, here's the problem. According to many experts, but there was a book written by Dr. Seth Farber, and it's called A Critical Look at the Foster Care System. Let me just read to you what he says, because it applies to every one of us. Only a small minority of the children apprehended, taken out of these homes, have been separated from parents who are actually dangerous to them. The overwhelming majority have been separated from loving and responsible parents. One does not need to be a child psychologist to realize the devastating effect of removing a child from parents with whom he or she is deeply bonded. Now, this is why I'm involved in prepaid legal, and to be blunt and honest with you, this is why I'm doing this video. 1 million children a year. Now, these numbers will fluctuate a little bit state to state, but the average, according to all the stats I just gave you, is this. 65% of the children will be returned 1 year to 14 months later. Now, parents, I'm going to tell you something right now, and many of you watching this video have contact with, know people firsthand who have been through this. And I will say this is not a poor problem, this is not a rich problem, this is not a white problem, it's not a black problem, it's not a north, south, east, west, American, Canadian problem. This is now across the board. Every one of you need to hear what I'm going to tell you. 65% of these children will be returned. But I'm going to tell you something, they won't come back the way they left your home. First of all, you won't be the same way. You will go through the most horrible, devastating year or 14 months or 2 years or 3 years of your life. Now, they say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's why I'm talking to you about the prepaid legal membership. Number one, the children are going to come back. 65% of them, average, will come back. But about 60 to 80%, now 85% in Texas, according to WOIV, that did an investigative report. Again, these numbers vary from state to state, but let's say 60 to 80% to be safe, will come back to you on drugs. Placed on these drugs, sometimes within 48 hours, according to these reports, by the system. But even more devastating, a high percentile, estimated by many to be as high as 60 to 70%, again, various states. 60 to 70% of these children will come back to you having been abused. And we've all seen the stories lately. This is not a secret now, okay? The lid's off, everybody knows about it. Abused by the very system that is supposed to be there to protect them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, does Mr. Stone Cipher believe we need a system? Yep. Do I believe we need a system? Absolutely. But we need to fix this system. And ladies and gentlemen, you need to protect your children. Church, we need to be protecting our children. That's where, when I looked at this, okay, this is not selling vitamins. We need vitamins, God bless them. This is not soap. We all need soap and hope you all use it, okay? This is protecting your family. To me, this is an extension of everything that I'm about. This is an extension of my ministry. Pastor, thank you for allowing us to show this video because, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Your pastor cares about you. He cares about your children. Because this is now a fight for all of our children, both sides of the border. I beg you to get this membership. I beg you to get with the person who arranged this video because, ladies and gentlemen, right now, today, you can cover your family with a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week blanket of protection when you are being confronted or questioned or detained by authorities. Now, all of the calls, the unlimited calls pertaining to legal matters that you can make to the law firms and all the other things that you're going to see, the wills and things that you'll see in the brochure, well, that's wonderful. But I believe, by the way, we also have the most powerful identity theft protection on this planet. I've seen many of them. Let me tell you something, this is the best. and it's an add-on for $9.95. But I believe that having that access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, if you are ever being questioned, and this is not just limited to social service issues, but if you were to be questioned or detained, now this is not if somebody falls down your steps and you want to know if you're liable, or you got a bill in the mail and you don't think it's right. Those are things you talk to the lawyers about during working hours. But 24 hours a day, 7 days a week under the Legal Shield, if you are being detained or questioned by authorities, to be able to pick up the telephone, dial an 800 number, and be connected in a matter of minutes with one of the top law firms in this country, in your particular area, that understands your particular locale and laws and whatever. Folks, it's totally invaluable. Let me have you meet, in closing, some of these lawyers.
Prepaid is the largest client of this law firm, and as a result, any person calling in, any individual member calling in, is my biggest client.
They have the consumer buying power of being a group, and that's what it's all about. Prepaid Legal sends us a monthly check that's very, very handsome monthly check, and we're proud to have it, and we want it to come next month. We treat every member just like a major law firm would treat the CEO of one of their major clients, because we know that if we make that person mad or do bad service for that person, we have a chance of losing that client.
We are 100% accountable. Every complaint gets investigated both here and in Oklahoma. They're supposed to be resolved as soon as possible, if possible within 24 hours. So they're going to get the highest standards of accountability. They're going to get the highest customer service standards. They're going to get the most accountable and most responsive attorneys.
We make an effort to handle each call individually and try to give good customer service, good bedside manner, and try to handle their legal needs as well as their emotional need involving their issue, which is important because most lawyers in the traditional bar can solve your legal problem, but often don't do it in a good bedside manner.
Prepaid Legal has as good a group of law firms as you can find in this country. The quality of service that a member can expect in any state is excellent. It's not average, it's way above average.
Well, I want to thank you for your time. And as I told you at the onset, ladies and gentlemen, this is ministry to me. I believe with every fiber of my soul that God has raised up Prepaid Legal and this membership for such a time as this, to protect you and to protect your children, to protect your grandchildren. Now, you grandparents can buy this for your children. You can buy it for any blood relative. But for less than the price of a cup of coffee a day. You know, a lot of people have cable, a lot of people have satellite. They spend $50 to $100 a month to entertain. Many times entertain their children, not necessarily with all the good stuff, but less than the price of a cup of coffee a day to protect your children, protect your families. I believe there's two kinds of people watching this video right now. Those who are going to say, would God I had, or thank God I did. I've talked about this on our radio program recently, and sadly, 1 week ago, in one 24-hour period, ladies and gentlemen, 9 families contacted me. Collectively, they lost 16 children. In one 24-hour period, lost 16 children. Every one of those families listened to me on the radio, heard me talk about this. Every one of them in a panic now. What do I do now? What do I do now? Can you help me now? I wish I'd whatever. Ounce of prevention worth a pound of cure. I implore you, I beg you, matter of fact, as a man who deals every day with broken children's lives, I beg you, don't ever let your kids get caught up in this system. Ladies and gentlemen, there are many wonderful people that work in this system, but right now the system's out of control and needs to be fixed. And bottom line, you don't want your children to fall into that. You need to protect yourself as you serve the Lord. Prepaid Legal has been raised up by God, in my opinion, for such a time as this. And I encourage you to get with the person who arranged this showing. Before we go, I want to have you maybe hear a little bit of what I heard well over a year ago now. I believe with all my heart that God raised up Harlan Stonecipher to start this company. And I can tell you this much, he loves God. He and his wife are absolutely phenomenal people. He has put together a phenomenal company. He has a heart to help the church. He has a heart to help pastors. He has a heart to protect families. That's what his motivation is. But I'd like to have you hear what I heard, and maybe it'll help you understand why I believe so much in this company and in this man. Here's Harlan Stonecipher.
Now I know that I run the risk tonight